Welcome back to consecutive day 1187 of a diary of a runpreneur. And today's episode I want to talk to you about how to get through those tough runs. So remember to give this a like, share, comment and subscribe, as the more people we get in front of, the more money we raise on my fundraising mission to save the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultra marathon. All the information about the challenge, how you can get involved, is in the link in the comments below. Thank you as always, and let's get started. So, consecutive day 1187 of a diary of a runpreneur. And today's episode, I want to talk to you about how you can get through those really tough runs. And I do this in a number of ways. One of the first things I would do is find a distraction, and usually on my runs, which helps on my my running streak, is that I run in my average daily run is 7.5 kilometers. So what that means to me, especially when I want to listen to something educational, so I listen to audible books and podcasts on occasions, but predominantly it's books I listen to via Audible. And when you also factor in that I have a vlog to record, so I'm talking and going through my diary of events in a period of time, 7.5 kilometers isn't much at all. And that comes on to the second point, which is phases, okay? So, or as marathon runners would refer to, pieces of the pie. And when you try and run a marathon, or the other famous phrase is, how do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time? When you run a marathon, people think, oh my word, 26.2 miles or 42.2 kilometers, how am I going to run that? Simple, it's one step at a time. And when you factor in phases, you run a 5 kilometers run. If you're a seasoned runner, you probably wouldn't think much of a 5k run. It's 8 5k runs, 8 pieces of the pie, it's a marathon. So it's phases or pieces of the pie. And the same goes for even shorter kind of runs. And the best kind of example of that is that I've just got back from northern Cyprus on my family vacation, 2 weeks. It was amazing, but running every day, I had no mobile signal on my watch when I was running, so I couldn't listen to my Audible, or music. So it was, I could have listened to music if I took my phone, but I couldn't be bothered. So I had just myself and my thoughts to get myself through. So one of the distracting methods that I use, listening to something, was taken away from me. Yes, I still had 10 to 15 minutes of time, assigned to recording my vlog, which was a distraction. But the rest, over 2/3 of the run, or 3/4 of the run, I had to try and find ways to preoccupy myself. And the way I did it was, or the way I do it for any such runs, as I break the run into phases. Ideally, at least 4 phases you want. A few more, even better, but you don't want the phases to be so short. They're inconsequential, in that they don't really mean nothing. So, for example, this 7.5 kilometer run for me, I know generally that recording my vlog will probably take me up to 2 kilometers of running, so maybe 10 minutes of running. Sometimes it's less, quite often it's less, so it might be 1.5 kilometers of running. But 1.5 kilometers is still a phase, isn't it? I'll listen to my Audible for the rest of the time. So that's possibly 30 minutes of Audible listening time. So that's another phase that I could factor in. But the easiest way to do phases is not by time or by distractive method. I'm just using some examples here. It's by distance or chunks of the run. So I always plan my routes generally. And I like to plan my route where there's key kind of markers where I will pass a phase. So when I was doing my runs in Cyprus, I had 5 phases and I knew exactly where they were. So I had out of the hotel all the way across the main road until you turned off towards the town. That was phase 1. Then I had all the way kind of up to the town, right the way up to the main road where you turned onto the main road, as phase 2. I then had phase 3 was down the main road of the town, around a kind of a roundabout section at the far end of town, back down the main road to when I turned back to home, because it was an out and back route. So running out of town was phase 4, and then back on the main road to the hotel was phase 5. So I had these phases in mind. So when I was running, and before you knew it, when you factor in that there was a vlog to record, I'd always record the vlog in phase 4, because I found that that was the period of space where it was less dangerous to record a vlog. And before you know it, I finished my vlog, I was on phase 5 and home. So when you're doing the phases, I knew that once I got up to kind of phase 3, I was approaching halfway, and you kind of get into halfway relatively quick with a 7.5 kilometre run. And it just breaks the run down. It keeps you distracted. It doesn't make, because 7.5 kilometres in a straight line is a long way. It's about 4.5 miles. It's a long way, however you slice and dice it. So being able to break that down into phases or chunks or bite-sized chunks makes those, you're looking at the phase you're in, you're not looking further beyond that. So this run that I do all the time, it's quite a long road out and back. So if I break this down, I might break it down into, phase 1 might be to this road here. There's a cross section here. There's a road over there. There's a road over here. It's like a disjointed crossroad, but it's about halfway down this really long road. So straight away, there's a phase to the back end to the road where you turn around, and there's a phase back. So there's 2 phases there, and there's a phase at the beginning. So there's 4 phases just on this road by breaking it down into 4 segments. And instantly, this long road, which is pretty grim to run down if you're treating it as one slot, is broken down into 4 bite-sized chunks. And all of a sudden, the road doesn't feel as long anymore. And then you might have a 5th phase, which is the, back home, which is a small phase. Or you might, join that phase if it's too short into the first part of this road. However you do it, it's up to you. But I think, to summarise, the learnings from my diary today is we all have those horrible runs you just don't want to be doing. And they'll be quite often for a lot of us, because running is a bit sadistic. You become addicted to it, but you really enjoy it. I mean, it's hard work and it's constant. And yes, you do get those runs where you're floating on air, but you also get your runs where you're running on treacle and quicksand, which are probably more common for most of us. And by breaking your run into phases or chunks and having key parts of that, so you know which phase you're on, is A, it keeps your mind active, B, it's a distractive method. You can distract yourself also by listening to music or Audible or podcasts. You can also distract yourself if you're vlogging. I don't think there's too many running vloggers out there, so that probably isn't going to be applicable to many of you. But the process of phases is a distraction in itself. And all of a sudden, a really long, laborious run, before you know it, I'm past phase 1, I'm on to phase 2. And then you've already kind of forgotten that you've done phase 1, you focused on phase 2, and you're forgetting that there's kind of phases 2, 3, 4, and 5, and possibly 6. You probably want to go up to kind of 8. Let's use the marathon scenario. 8 5Ks is pretty much a marathon. So any more than that, it's hard to keep track of. Any less than 4 is almost pointless. But if you kind of do stick to that principle, it will get you through those tough runs, and you'll feel like you haven't run as far as you actually have. Evening. So anyway, that's it for me. Any questions or comments, drop me a line and I'll respond to everyone. Remember to give this a subscribe, share, like and comment. As more people get in front of, the more money we raise on my fundraising mission to save the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultramarathon. All the information about the channel and how you can get involved is on the link in the comments below. Thank you as always. Stay positive, stay happy, and I'll see you again tomorrow.